Hey Isaiah, you gonna hold that down? That's how it's going. We can start.
I remember one day I did 100. I did 5 24-hour shifts in a row. 128 hours. That was brutal.
It's looking like a go.
Yeah, you don't even feel like yourself after that. You just gotta. It's like you lose your mind a little bit.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Good evening. We're about to get started. We're going to have a working lunch by all means. That being said, does everyone have an agenda? No? Isaiah's going to pass it out. Okay, we're going to start with a roll call while he's passing out those particular agendas. Carmelita Earl's present.
DeAndre Rudis, community engagement, present.
Array with Karen Winters, nominator present.
Outstanding. We have a quorum. A quorum has been determined. All three counselors are present. Therefore, we normally start with a moment of silence or open prayer. So if no one is opposed to prayer, we're going to begin. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity you have allowed us to come and assemble. Thank you for your blessing, your grace, and your particular mercy, Lord God. Touch those in the 15th district that are challenged in various situations, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. We ask that you allow us to be your vessels to intercede on their behalf. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Okay, I'm going to, at this particular time, we're all eating, so I'm just going to continue and say at this point, I'm going to give you a mic, just in case anyone has any public comments. This is your time to do so. Maximize the fact that we have our commander present, so they'll be more than happy to, Dee, can you hold this one? More than happy to address your concerns. Well, first of all, acknowledge we have 15th District Commander Morris present, and we also have one of our co-counselors, our colleague from the 11th District, who's the chair for 11th District. Bryant, I'm gonna let him introduce his particular self and let him know that although we're in the city, we have similar issues.
So, hi everybody. My name is Dr. Brian Ramson. I'm chair of District Council 11. This is District Council 15, so we're just east of you guys. I am here to talk with you about some of the initiatives we're doing, or one of the initiatives we're doing in the entire District Council, body. It will be very interesting. We're really looking for your input, so we really like you to participate. So thanks for coming out.
And I think we had one person for public comment.
Oh, yeah. It's sort of an old comment before your time, but it's something to concern.
Ma'am, we're recording. Can you?
Make it for the mic. Okay. I've had a couple occasions to go into 15th DC for whatever, meetings, whatever. And considering that a lot of the officers do not look like the community surrounding them, their lack of PR, greeting, everything. I walked in one time and stood there for almost 5 minutes, and they were talking. One, the junior cadet was down looking down at her computer. She never looked up, and no one said anything. I could have walked through that door with anything in my hand, and it would have been a mess if I had been in that kind of mindset. And I've gone in a couple times, and there's just a lack of connection that if you're working in a community and you want them to respect you and work with you, then you got to show us some respect. Show that we exist. Show that you're accountable to the neighborhood that you're in. And greet. Get that, toothpick smile up, and acknowledge. It's important if you want to build those relationships. Otherwise, don't get upset when people don't want to talk to you. And that's one of the things that I was saying. There's just a lack of connection. Any response?
Thank you very much for bringing that concern to our attention. When it comes to customer service, we are customer service. It is superintendent's vision that every officer is a community policing officer. It's also my philosophy that that's correct. I am the commander of the 15 districts. So ultimately, I am responsible for officers there and also their attitudes and their interactions. So we've got to do a better job, and that's something that I continuously stress to our officers, the need to engage and show that relationship, show that you're concerned, looking our community members in the eye with a smile, being happy to see them. We all have bad days, but it's not our prerogative to bring that to work, because ultimately we are the community is us, no matter how we look. We don't control always how we look, but we control our attitudes and our intentions, and that's committed through actions. So thank you very much for bringing that to our concern, and we will get better.
Well, thank you all for your public comments. We appreciate the fact because there's two common words in community. That's common unity, and that's what we're here to strive for. Thank you very much for being transparent. The next on the agenda is approval of our meetings from the April 17th, 2025, where it was held at Harambe's Garden.
Dolly Garden.
I'm sorry?
Dolly Garden.
I'm sorry, Dolly Garden. I'm sorry. This is Harambe. On April 17, 2025. So, yes, thank you. Okay, Dolly's Garden at 623 North Laurel. All counselors were present. Sister Karen was present via Zoom, but we were all present for that. The meeting started at 6 o'clock, and it says April 23rd, but the meeting date was the 17th. Did we change it?
Oh no, she made an announcement about having a April 23rd community meeting.
Okay, I'm
That's what
sorry.
that was,
Thank
yeah.
you. Mrs. Jones, I should just read it, right? Ms. Jones' announcement was that there was going to be a community meeting at April 23rd at 6 p.m. at 15th District. Thank you. The purpose was to discuss what we're doing here, safety initiatives for the upcoming summer. The goals were to gather the community input on desired police actions within 8-block area. Prepared was a presentation to the superintendent and other officials on May 9th, and the materials were flyers and handouts. They were distributed. Ms. BJ's announcement was that the NAACP on April 24th from 6 to 8 was going to be held in Morris Park. Public Safety for Austin, same thing, urged the attendance to strengthen the community conversation with the mayor, superintendent, and that particular office. Okay. The meeting minutes for February and March were basically approved. There was motioned and approved for. The district council updates was that the COPA and BIA incidents, you have the particular specificities, so therefore we're not going to go through all of them because the commander needs to speak and skedaddle. So that being stated, everything from the NYU's project, the CARES program, the events I just spoke about, the ACRES de-escalation training and public safety is still available for all the public at 400, it actually says 400, but it's 4300 West Chicago Avenue. At the academy itself. You can sign up for those particular things. We discussed a lot of different things from the various numbers for the citizens, 911, 988, 211, and 311. Our seniors were urging the fact that they were struggling to differentiate between the various numbers. So we're going to add that to our particular agenda for public awareness to explain the various times. 911, emergency, of course, something happening right now, when not to call the police because there are other avenues to do so. So we're urging to engage in police training and the particular attendance. The emphasis was placed on the importance of body cameras for accountability, and we had Commissioner Javier Miners. She did a phenomenal job. Young woman who spoke, I was just quite blown away. The youngest commissioner appointed with a background in public policy and personal experience with gun violence. The history, we lost a parent to gun violence at 13, and her cousin was killed at 14. She became a victim at 19, and this was the motivation for her staying in the public realm to bring a difference. She interned for Chief of Staffs, various Senate Democrats, and she was a non-for-profit leader, or is, should I say, of African American heritage and leadership. So that being stated, we talked about protectural stops, the QR code for a particular newsletter. We're developing and launching a pilot mediation tribunal, which we will be speaking about on our updates, with support of legal counsel. That was outstanding for those of you that attended at the Rudis Center on Madison. And that being stated, those were the particular minutes for our last meeting. May I have a motion to accept with any corrections, please?
I motion to accept the meeting minutes from April 17th as read.
Second. Okay, it has been properly motioned by Councilor Rudis and properly seconded by Councilor Winters. Any questions?
Oh, we got to do the special meeting. Say we got to approve the meeting for special.
Outstanding. All right. So that being stated, has been properly motioned and accepted, and therefore we have entered them into the record. So the particular meeting for the special meeting. Where?
Here.
Okay, thank you. There was a special meeting held on May 2nd at the Rudis Center, 5044 West Madison. We want to thank our community engagement officer who has actually put his money where his mouth is and gave an actual brick and mortar space for us to meet and talk about what this work looks like. Thank you very much openly. The community meeting member, there was one member who had public comments. A community member praised the police for their transparency and commitment to changing the narrative on the west side. A second member basically spoke about the community engagement at North Park. Hold on, neighbor. The purpose was to introduce the community members to the Public Safety Task Force teams and connect organizations that's offering services for our youth. The Austin Coming Together initiative has partnered with Westside Health Authority, Jane Adam, BMO Bank, and at the new Aspire Center that will be opening on June 19th at 5500 West Madison. Move-in dates the end of the month, as stated. Grand opening Thursday. That's a Thursday. So the workforce development, the reentry services, mental services, housing, training for young people, and justice-impacted individuals is who they will serve. You have the particular minutes in front of you. Ms. Cassandra does not, but we'll have some for you in a minute. The motion on the table was to approve the minutes from the last meeting, the next official district meeting, which was May 15th. Motion was made by Councilor Rudis and seconded by Councilor Winters, and the motion carried unanimously. We also gave our particular updates at that particular special meeting, and at that meeting we discussed the community police tribunal initiative. I'm going to let Councilor Winters, do you want me to steal your thunder for that, or are you going to talk about it? Okay, well, I'll continue. Key points with the tribunal: the district council, community members, police department members were present, and training required a restorative justice and conflict resolution mediation, as well as racial healing and justice. Our goals was to provide community-driven alternatives to traditional policing, focus on the healing and the accountability, as well as trust building, the address for both community and the police when it comes to conflicts. The challenges we identified was the terminology that we will be using, because some words are some kind of implies, the word such as tribunal implies a punitive process, and that's not for cultural reasons. Tribunal means a lot to African Americans. So that being stated, that we're going to ensure the confidentiality and safety for participants and differentiate between the various types of conflicts. The recommendation became clear that we start with a vision and mission statement, which is being in the works. Define the scope and practice of the tribunal to avoid misconceptions. Engage the community in listening tours and focus groups. Consider alternative names to avoid the punitive connotations, as well as incorporate a menu of mediation options tailored to specific conflict types. The vision and mission development underway will establish a focused and clear statement for the community and the police tribunal. The action points will be defined in core values and objectives, will ensure the cultural relevance and community alignment, develop educational materials to inform the community about the initiative, and refer the referral processes and the partnerships. We discuss also the collaboration between the mediation centers and the community resources, the potential partners, as well as local universities and other nonprofits. Certifications, requirements, confidentiality, policies, and statutory protections. I don't know why I'm struggling. I just realized I don't have my glasses on. So that being stated, it's over now. May I have a motion to accept the particular minutes as read?
I move to accept our meeting minutes from 5/2 as read.
It has been motioned by Councilor Rudis and second by Councilor Winters. Any questions on the floor? All in favor? Aye. Okay, the ayes have it. It has carried. I'm now going to lateral this mic to Councilor Rudis.
All right, so we're going to now talk about district councilor member updates. It's not a whole lot to talk about for me this time around. And as it related to Ms. Jones and some of the things she talked about with this meeting that was going to be held at the 15th district, the community essentially came together and came up with what they believe is a good strategy that they would like to see implemented on the west side of Chicago amongst the west side districts 10, 11, 15, and 25. And so you had about 25 members, and they were going through this particular strategy that they cultivated. And so the next step after that was to then try to get buy-in from the other district counselors so that they can raise up this strategy in their meetings. So we did follow up with that, and we connected with District 10 and 11 in addition to 15. And then we had the individuals that were leading that meeting to come and speak to the district counselors to see exactly how they felt about said strategy. And so they thought it was an interesting thing, and the strategy itself combines some of the things that you may have heard either in this meeting or these meetings or elsewhere, things such as having improved beat integrity, seeing the same officers walk the beat, getting to know the community being out of the car, having curfews installed, as well as truancy officers reinstated, just certain things, again, that you may have heard in the past, either in these meetings or in other meetings where the community continues to say these are some things that they'd like to see. So essentially, we're now currently just waiting to see what the next move is from these individuals. They brought the district counselors together. Now they would like to kind of move this up to other elected officials to try to continue to get buy-in from it. There were also 2 different complaints that were either in COPA or BIA. As I mentioned, the one that was in COPA, it has moved forward and said that there was no incidents found on the part of the officers, so that case has just been removed. Apparently, prior to the guy seeing what had happened to the young lady, as I mentioned in the previous meeting, young man was driving down the street, said he saw a female officer strike another detained woman, and she was taken to the ground and other officers surrounded her. But COPA, after reviewing the video, shows that the woman was the aggressor prior to him seeing what happened, and so that particular situation was removed from COPA as they didn't find anything. The other thing that went to BIA was moved because COPA said that they tried to contact the individuals involved. It was a Mother's Day gathering. It was a very large gathering that broke out into several fights. Somebody fired a gun. The police arrived on the scene, and as you can imagine, it was already chaotic, and so a bunch of different things happened within this particular incident, and to kind of narrow it down would have been difficult. And so what happened is when COPA tried to contact the individual that made the complaint, they said they had a hard time doing so, so they moved it on to BIA. When BIA reviewed everything, they also summarily found that there was nothing that they can hold punitive against the officers, considering the amount of folks and everything that was going on. It was a charged situation, so the police had to act equally as aggressive, if that's the word you want to use. And so as it related to all of their directives and ordinances and everything else that's in place that dictates how police should interact with community, they didn't find fault on any of those things considering the matter at hand. The young lady was unsatisfied with that, and so me and her sat through and went through the entire report. We pointed out some things that she felt like were inconsistencies, and now she's and I haven't talked to her in a couple weeks now, but I believe she's now going to follow up with maybe like the OIG's office or even try to go back to COPA to suggest that she felt like in the particular case that she was trying to raise, they might have overlooked some stuff, or she wasn't, the information that they had given her, she wasn't satisfied with in general. So we'll keep you posted on that if she continues to move forward with that. The other thing, as I always mention, and I don't have, because I just did not have an opportunity to get to it this month, our newsletter. We have a newsletter that comes out that follows each meeting. I will have, since you signed in, I will have one, and then we'll have it emailed out to you. But on that newsletter, we keep a survey that has been in place since we started, basically to keep track of how we're doing, to see if we improve public safety and police over the span of our staying here in these roles. And then the other thing is a contact us section, so that if you feel like being a part of a meeting where officers are present does not allow you to speak freely, then you can contact us anonymously and put whatever those issues are and complaints are, and then we'll be the holders of that. The other thing that I like to do is keep a resource list. So it is in a Google Drive. Each time something comes up during a meeting, whether it's trespass or noise affidavits, things like that, we keep them in a secure location so that folks can't access them. And as always, our meetings are always recorded, and that I usually attach that to the newsletter in case folks miss a meeting and you want to go back and see what happened in prior meetings. What else? I also did attend Councilor Winters and I did attend the the People's Plan, the People's Plan for Community Safety that was organized by NAACP at Moore Park, where they were talking about the updates in what's going on in public safety. It was a good meeting. We had some conversation. That's kind of what the gist of it, to be honest. We didn't get a whole lot of data or anything that I could share, but they did talk about some things that can continue to help improve public safety, and it was just some really good conversation, to be honest. Other than that, that is all that I have.
And they are going to have another meeting because the NAACP are the conveners for the Mayor's Office of Community Safety People's Plan. So the few announcements that I have are just events that are coming up, and I will give you copies of the flyers. But this isn't an update. This probably should have happened during public comment. But to the community member that raised the concern about the officers, not looking like us in community. When you look at the makeup of the department, we don't have very many African American officers, right? So my thing at this juncture, because that's said time and time again, over and over again, we have to start producing more black officers, right? We got to start encouraging, some nephews, cousins, or somebody to start thinking about, joining the department. Because at the end of the day, when I think about it, with the few officers that we have, would I want them permeated in a community that is high crime, high trauma, high everything? Like, would I just want that burden to be solely on African American officers? And I don't think that would be fair for the department. So that's the only thing I could suggest, that we have to start thinking about how we can build up our numbers, because like a lot of the officers that are there now, they're retiring, they're aging out. They're not. When you look at the academy right now, the graduating class, you may see a few. So we got to figure that out. We have to do better. So that's all. And I'll make sure that everybody gets flyers for the Juneteenth grand opening of the Aspire Center on Madison and Central, and then we're having an opportunity. Austin Coming Together is having an opportunities fair in Moore Park next Saturday from 10 to 4, and I'll give everyone flyers. Thank you, Carmelita.
Hi, Carmelita. I'm basically doesn't have much to report, but I will tell you that this is going to work because you are engaged and you're woke. And as a former first responder, I can tell you that it's not easy to put on a uniform and wonder if you're going to make it back to your particular family. So it's not to take lightly that other nationalities are in our particular um, neighborhoods. We get it, and as you just to your point, you wonder, you know, does people have what it takes to actually say that they're going to lay down their life for a perfect stranger, things of that nature. But what we can do as a community is begin in our homes and change the mindset of what a community that needs policing look like. So that being stated, that's my comment. And I will say regarding the reports, let's not just report when an officer does something bad. Let's also go up there and tell them when they're doing good, because I got news for you. You can speak things into existence. And when you're reporting something, oftentimes it's a misperception, it's a miscommunication, and what you thought you experienced or what you're seeing is really not what you're seeing. So let's be transparent also in what we say. Thank you.
All right, so that's the end of our district councilor member updates. So now we'll move to the discussion portion of our meeting, which will bring up district councilor Brian Ramsden, and he'll talk about the district strategic plan. And during this session, we'll also bring in the commander so that if you have any questions or he has any input, he can do that as well.
I'm gonna need your seat. You should use it. Nope. I refuse. I refuse. We don't engage in that form of disrespect.
I'm gonna sit there.
It's okay. That one is relinquished.
Hello. Hey everybody, how you doing? Hey, so my name is Brian Ramsden, Dr. Brian Ramsden. I again serve as the chair of the 11th District Council. So if you go east and you pass Cicero, that is sort of the police district I'm associated with. So what I wanted to do with you today is review some of the things we've been working on in the district councils. And that has to do with what's known as the district strategic plan. How many people besides Commander Morse over here are familiar with that? Raise your hand if you have read your district strategic plan, have heard about it, know what it's supposed to do, and know why it exists. Anyone? Okay, that's about what we had assumed. And it's not because you guys are doing something wrong or the police are doing something wrong. It's just it requires a bit of effort, and it's not always clear how to exactly exert that effort. So what we're trying to do as the district councils is figure out how we can increase the effectiveness of that effort and assist the police in better engaging community policing. Hope that makes sense to everybody. So let's talk about what the district strategic plans are. So you should have a copy of them. You should have a copy of it for the 15th district, which is where you currently live. Boy. I'm gonna need these. These are actually my own personal notes. Yeah, so there's another one over there. Yeah, you can grab it. Thank you. So what these guys are they're annual written down, they're not contracts, but they're actual plans about what the police think that is the most important things that need to be addressed in your district and in your communities. And it is built with the input of all of you, if you've gone to those particular meetings. These guys are supposed to focus on, when I say these guys, I mean the DSPs, the district strategic plans. They're supposed to focus on crime reduction strategies and community engagement. Those are the only two things they're supposed to do. And they're supposed to let you guys know how the police are engaging and policing in your district. Does that make sense? They are meant to inform you. The critical thing about this is you guys are supposed to have input into this, and you have, but it's likely that in the last round of this process, you weren't aware of the meetings and when they happened and how this whole thing happened. So what we want to do is not only inform you of that process, but also start taking a hand in that process so we can assist the police in developing these strategies. Does that make sense?
What is the
No.
what is the timeline on when? Is it like a rolling strategic plan?
These take place every year.
Every year.
So they're for a year, and once you make the plan, it's supposed to apply for the entire year, and it's supposed to be updated every quarter.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so please, oh yeah, and you have a set of slides. This was the first one. If you're following along on your paper, please move to the slide that looks like this. It's got like the pink arrows on it. So the whole purpose of this DSP It's supposed to give us a place where we can interact with the police in a way where we act as partners, which is supposed to build a community trust. It's supposed to give us a way that the police have said, this is what we're going to do. So that allows us to hold them accountable over a long time scale. It's also supposed to help the police figure out where to assert or where to put their resources so they can, again, most effectively engage in policing. Now, the critical thing, we've been doing these strategic plans probably for the last 5 years minimum. These came into effect from the consent decree in August of 2022. You guys know about the consent decree, right? So this was specifically designed as a way of engaging in police accountability. And what we're coming in now that we're the district councils and we are another form of police accountability, we like to consolidate and again, use all the methods and resources we can to assist the police in doing their job. So let's go to the next one with the books. I'm trying to get y'all out of here before it starts raining. So again, I told you that this comes from the consent decree. This actually comes from Special Orders 2-03-02. I had a blue paper around here somewhere that actually had the order. Yeah, I think it might have blown away. Oh, well, maybe it's right there. Yep, here it is. I only brought one copy. This is my personal copy. This is the actual order from the consent decree that tells you what's supposed to be in there. Pass it around. It's Order 02-03-02. So it's CPD Special Order 02-03-02. And I just want you guys to know what it looks like. You can Google it, and it will show you that exact same thing. Pass it around. Okay. It is a special order. Yep, it's a special order. Okay. So we're moving to this guy. So this is where we specifically would like your input. There's a process for how these district strategic plans get made. And what we'd like is some input on if you guys think that should change, if you think it works, if you think it doesn't work, if you'd like something in particular to change about it, we'd really like to know. So I'll go through the entire process for you. So do you know when you guys do your planning meetings?
In usually October of each year,
October.
we have what's called community conversations. We invite the community to chime in on what they think are the biggest problems that are on their beats here in the 15th district. Hey there. This isn't so much as what we think issues are in the 15th district. This is what we understand the community thinks these problems are in the 15th district. And not only do we talk to members of our community, we also bring in members of our youth. And we feel that's important because from talking to them and having existing relationships with them through our strategies, our youth engagement outreach, through talking to them and our relationships through our youth engagement strategies, such as our district advisory council, not district councils, district advisory councils, as well as our youth district advisory councils. We bring them in and they tell us what they feel is wrong. And once we aggregate the data that the community sent us or tells us, then we look at the calls for service. Because obviously, no matter how aggressive the outreach program is, you're gonna miss some people. But one thing that doesn't miss people are calls for service and reported crimes. So when you aggregate the calls for service, the reported crimes, and what the community says is wrong, then we talk to our other community stakeholders. And this is why I stress the importance of getting involved with your district, not just the district councils, but the district advisory councils, our faith-based meetings, our youth district advisory councils, our senior meetings. We have a holistic approach in the 15th district, and each community outreach protocol, such as the meetings that we have and bodies that we interact with, feeds back into the information that we receive in order to help us build this plan. So once we aggregate the information, we develop the plan, we submit the plan to the chain of command, it goes over to the Office of Community Policing, they review it, approve it, reject it, we make those recommendations, and then now the district strategic plan is implemented. It is a living document. It's a document that is updated, as the doctor said, during the quarterly reports. So one thing that may not be included in your documentation is this year we were tasked with identifying the 3 most high crime beats in the district. And that's a new wrinkle, because this district strategic plan was aggregated and received and submitted prior to that mandate. So during the last quarterly session, what we did in the 15th district, we overlaid our 3 problem beats with our district strategic plan to make for the most efficient use of resources. And going forward, we're probably going to be targeting the 3 most problem blocks, because I have beats that are two different awards for 2 different aldermen. And so and it begins to overlay and sometimes get a bit complicated when it comes to resources and involving our community stakeholders, and our aldermen are a huge part of that. But I'm not going to talk too much. I was just asked a minor question, but I just wanted to give some insight.
No, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
No, that was great. We really appreciate that. You actually went through the whole process. I mean, it's your job. So, but go ahead. What I would like to do is just number it out for you, so you can hone in on the major steps that you should be cognizant of outside of the entire process. So, Commander Moore said, yes, there are community conversations. There's the first community conversation, which again starts in October. Then there's a sort of an estimated plan, or like a draft plan that goes out. And there's a second community conversation, which I believe is still in October for you guys, right? Then those plans are collated, they're finalized, they go to the District Advisory Committee, which Commander Morris obviously knows about. And then they go out and they're published. And everybody sort of says, okay, we've done it. Now this is what we're going to do for the rest of the year. And then what's supposed to happen is that it's supposed to get looked at every quarter. So going to the next page. The major parts of the district strategic plan are, again, you have your problem solving, crime priorities, which I think the 3 most problem blocks that you just mentioned would be part of that. Then there are also community engagement priorities. So it's not only supposed to be where the police are putting their attention and resources, but also how they are properly engaging with you guys.
What does that mean, community engagement priorities?
So what it really means is they should be talking in meaningful ways.
So for us, what this means is, you gotta understand, this is a living document. So our goals and efforts should be used to address the priorities, to solve the problems, and engage the community in order to solve the problems. So this is about community empowerment. This isn't 2 parts. It's not we solve problems over here and then we talk to the community over there. No, this is, hey community, we've got problems over here in our community, let's solve them together. How do we do that? So, number 1, problem solving, crime priorities. Okay, we identified. Let's say we got a drug house right here, okay? Some of the resources and tools I could use as the district commander, I could get my TAC team to go and make arrests. I could get my beat cars to do a high visibility mission. I could get my strategic decision support center to do a pod camera mission when we see them with guns or narcotics, to identify them and then go make arrests. We could also call in organized crime, narcotics to come out. If they're identified gang members, we can call in the gang investigation section in order to arrest these members. If any of these members in this dope house are connected to illegal activities, and if they're on parole or probation, then we can do parole compliance check. So we have a litany of tools that we can use in order to address this. However, this leaves a void. Where's the community at? It's every bit the community's problem as it is the police problem, because we are the community. So what do? We say, hey, community, let's have a cookout right here. Let's do a peace march right here. Let's members of the community, we call it a nightlight mission, where the whole community turns on their lights on and off for a period of a few minutes, just to let people know, hey, we're here, we matter, this is our community. We're not gonna let drug dealers and gang members take over our community. When we look at the Austin community, it's a community with a lot of violence, robberies, motor vehicle thefts, vehicular hijackings, homicides. We may have two complaints they've mentioned regarding police, and both complaints seem like they have no merit. But I'm telling you right now, I'm 6th in the city in murder, here in Austin, in our community. So what are we gonna do about that? And that's the purpose of this district strategic plan. We talk about accountability, we're gonna get some community accountability and help solve these problems.
Appreciate you coming in again there. So let me, just a few more details about that. So yes, the things you're talking about definitely do work together, but in the way they're written down, they are separated out that way. So typically for the problem solving, they identify 3.
Listen, they're separate, but we integrate them
Yes,
because you
which is
can't
what
have
you're-
one without the other.
Which is what you're supposed to do, right? And then after the 3 primary priorities, there are community engagement priorities. And those priorities are supposed to center on particular people who are not necessarily effective and or well represented in communication with police. So it'd be like youth, it'd be like folks who may not necessarily who aren't always able to get out of their houses because they're disabled. Could be like businesses, folks experiencing domestic violence. And then there are also other particular groups that the police are supposed to engage with their affinity groups. You can think of your regular marginalized groups like LGBTQ folks or what would you call it? The houseless? What would you say? Unhoused. Thank you. Immigrants, religious minorities, etc. And additionally, for the community engagement priorities, the police have the option to pick 2 additional groups that they can decide that they also want to focus on. So if you guys want to emphasize like your faith-based communities, there is room for that in the district strategic plan. Okay, so now I really appreciate your input there. No, thanks. So,
Oh, wait. So with this part, because I know you just touched on this, the published quarterly progress report.
right, I was just about to get to that.
Oh, you're going, okay, good.
Yeah, so once everything is made and everything is ready to go, the whole point of it now is you've said what you want to do. Part of accountability is checking in on that as often as possible. I really like that Commander Moore said that this is a living document. That's how it's supposed to be. It really should be. You should be going back to that document and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work as much as possible, and then updating it. And then there's supposed to be another check-in where you sort of report in on how well you've done with the metrics you've established when you've already done your original plan. When I say metrics, it means like, okay, if you are seeing that you're getting X amount of calls in a particular neighborhood, one of the things that you could focus on in your district strategic plan is maybe reducing the number of calls in that neighborhood or trying to address the issues such that the community doesn't feel like they need to call the police about that as much. So it might not be that you've directly solved the issue, but you might have generated strategies that remove the police from the picture and put the community more in line with solving that issue. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, this is supposed to happen quarterly. I have looked at my district strategic plan. I haven't seen very many updates, and this is District 11, this is in District 15, so I don't know what's going on with them. But I haven't seen very many updates in my district strategic plan often.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Where do we find the updates, and then who updates them?
So we are responsible to update our district strategic plan every quarter. Once those updates are finalized, they should be published on cityofchicago.org, Chicago Police. All the district plans lie there. We update them as we need. However, some of these problems are long-standing problems and they're ongoing problems. So you still have to update them as you solve them, but some of these problems take more time to solve than others. I think going into next year, we might, I would say, restrict the broadness of the problem in order to be able to use the resources and relationships with the community to solve a problem quickly and then move on to an additional problem. So you'll get more coverage by not trying to start off so large.
So now that I've outlined the entire process for you guys, the reason, again, that we're coming and talking to you, besides the fact that we want to hear from you, is that we want specifically your input about how this process could be improved. So now is the time for you to talk.
Yeah.
If you think there's something missing in your district strategic plan, or if you think you have a good idea on how to improve it, we'd like to hear from you. You're right, that's true. So, yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, you guys haven't really read it.
Next meeting, we can come back with this. I'm not
Yeah.
in control.
So in
Because
addition,
they're gonna need a week to go through it and mark it up.
But you're right, though.
so in addition to this, I think there should also be a QR code, right?
It's a QR code in there that you can
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so when they go through it,
When you go
they'll
through
be
it.
able to
Yep.
The QR code.
You should be
to
able
give
to,
input.
exactly.
Yeah, they can.
That's what we wanted you guys to.
This is it right here, right?
That is
yeah.
District 15 strategic plan. Yes. So you have a copy of the plan, and
I
we
don't see
would.
no QR code.
The QR code is in the checklist
I'm sorry.
package.
In the checklist.
Oh,
Do
okay.
we have copies of this?
Yeah,
Okay.
God bless you.
Oh, I think I got that. Yeah.
Okay. And does everybody have a copy of this? It is in the
Home
checklist.
with paper.
So when you read it and you feel like you have some things you want to add to it, then then please do. Go ahead.
Yeah, because sometimes it could be a lot of information. It's a lot of information for us sometimes as district counselors. So maybe we may have to have another special meeting where we can go through it and process it and digest it together, right? And then, yeah, I think that'll be, yeah, we may have a special meeting because I don't know if we'd be able to like really take, because with all our other stuff we have to do in our meetings, you know what I mean? So that's what we're gonna do in 15. We're gonna have a special meeting to go through the strategic plan.
So I brought my own because I'm more familiar with mine than I am with 15. But so the number one problem solving problem for mine is narcotic sales and calls for service, which I believe is one of the at least 3 priorities here, right?
One of our problem number 1 is our narcotic sales and
Yep.
murders, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one.
So ours are not our narcotic sales, and what I've noticed about my district strategic plan, it's very detailed. What I think it could benefit from is maybe like a map, right? You should be able to mark all the intersections where you're having issues. And the critical question would be, at each new quarter, are you still getting calls about this particular intersection? Yes or no? And if you are, then it seems like there's still work to be done there. And that's a very simple, data-driven way to attack this problem that makes accountability very apparent. And again, it's not that if it's not solved that the police aren't doing their job, it's that we haven't figured out how to solve the issue yet. Does that make sense? So this is something we're working on. In addition to improving the plans, we're also working on trying to get input into the plan. If you look at the last page of your district strategic plan, the plan, not the actual plan. There are signatures on that plan, and that means it goes all the way downtown and then all the way back through the district, and everybody.
Who is this person? I'm sorry, Michael. I thought it was Jackson.
Everybody downtown in CPD signs off on it, as well as your folks in the district, right? What we'd like is at the limit of what we think we can do with this, we'd like to also have signatory authority. So your folks right here, who you're coming through to talk with this meeting, would also be able to sign off and say, we approve of this plan, we'd like to move forward with it, and then have that signatory authority quarterly, so that we can actually go through it, look it up, and say, hey, let's have a conversation about how well we're doing here. And again, this isn't to punish the police. This is just, we want to help the police do their jobs a little bit better. I know you guys know people who are afraid to come to meetings where police are and talk with them. If we're able to be in those spaces where they're not, we're able to access a particular granularity and particular spaces that allow the police to have a more effective way of solving all of our community problems. So this is why I think it's super important. One of the reasons I'm out here talking with you guys about it. So we're going to meet in June.
If that means I should leave so people can talk freely,
No.
I'll be happy to go so everybody can talk freely. All right, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't take it personal. Maybe people talk more freely without me. I'll leave.
We love our police on the
I'm
west
just saying,
side,
I mean-
but everybody don't live on the west side, and there are some meetings where they really don't want their police.
I
there,
just had to ask them.
Right.
I mean, they can
So
they can make that determination. All right,
critical
no problem.
question. So we think it's a good idea to postpone the actual ask about their.
We're gonna do a special meeting.
All right, and you guys will collate, or do you need me to call? I guess we can work that out later.
Yeah.
Yep. And then critical questions about what I've just shown you. Do you have anything, burning desires to know about anything moving forward? Hopefully this was useful for y'all. It's a lever, an avenue by which you can have input into what the police do. So please utilize it.
Oh, wait, I
Oh,
have a question.
what's up?
So, I
Oh,
think
sorry.
because the commander did say that this is a living document. So in the event we do have this special meeting, we go over the plan. If at that moment we may come up with something in addition to, does that mean we can like add it as an addendum or tweak the plan, or?
That'll be a recommendation for the quarterly updates. So now we're let's say you look through the current district strategic plan and you say, I think you could use more community outreach on this level. Or I think the priority problem is not this area, but it's this area. Then that could be part of the quarterly update. But we would need to verify an opinion. So I may have a feeling, I may feel something's wrong with this plan, but that should be backed up by community representation, calls for service, data, case reports, statistics. It should be backed up with facts, because feelings are fine. Feelings for my family. I love my family. No matter what they do, I ignore the facts. But this requires a desire and a need to justify factually, is it what we're saying it is? Because we owe the community that, we owe ourselves that, to be able to prove. So that will come in the form of quarterly update, but we'd have to vet that out.
Okay, and my,
Would that happen during the discussion?
It could happen during the meeting, because the district council meeting would be another avenue, another way by which we do number 2, community engagement. So right now, this technically really is part of our district strategic plan, because we are collaborating and communicating with our district council here. And yesterday I had a DAC meeting, District Advisory Council meeting. Today I had an Austin response team meeting. So all that is part of what we do here, and we list that in here. You'll see it in here.
oh, okay. And then one more question, Commander. We need napkins over here. So sometimes it might be a little hard to measure the front end of the strategic plan, but my issue was, because I missed 2020, the last meeting. I missed 24 into 25. No, I think I was into, wait, maybe I did. So, we were really focused around the community engagement aspect of the plan, but which to me seems easier to measure. Say, for instance, this one has subscriber engagement, fishing with the first responder. These things to me, when they happen, are measurable, right? And these are things that the community can see. But I guess so I was there for 2023, and people were coming up with really good ideas, like they wanted to do a dinner party, they wanted to do like a prom, like ask a cop out for prom. They were coming up with all these things, but I never saw any of them.
I'm married, right? And I love my wife very much. So we'll be watching TV, right? And I'll say, look at that guy. I can't believe he's doing commercials now. He's one of the biggest actors around. He's Robert De Niro. And she'll say to me, well, I never heard of him, so he don't exist. Just because, and I tell her, what do you mean? Just because you never heard of him? It still happened. He's still a big actor. We're doing all that. Like I said, please come and get involved and come see what we're doing. I introduce you know Officer Martinez? Every year he puts on an event where he gets prom dresses for the young ladies and suits for the young men so they can go on prom. He helps them do college scholarship applications and has successfully sent 2 or 3 of them with full rides, and has a couple coming on to the Chicago Police Department. Every summer we do fishing with a first responder. We have about 75 kids out there, and they're fishing in the park, and we give them fishing rods. I mean, we're doing so much. Come get involved, and you'll see all of that. So what you see here, it's actually on our CAPS website. So and remember, we have a budget too as a district, right? So we have our own outreach. We have our CAPS officers. We have our CAPS website, our district, our district coordination officer, our DCOs. And we do our best to get the word out. We even have brochures. Let me see it. Yeah, we even have brochures where I pass these out so people will know and come and get involved and see what we're doing. Okay. And there's tons of stuff in here. I mean, we're doing the work.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing the work. And we document it here.
Okay. Okay, I'm be looking for it.
Okay.
Yeah, she has a question.
I was just gonna, just brought me to the question of, does all this information go to our CAPS staff? Because I'm part of the CAPS group for this area.
So, he can answer, I can answer.
All of this go, we have a CAP sergeant, community policing sergeant.
Ramirez is ours.
We have Sergeant Edgar Brown. He's an outstanding community policing sergeant.
But our CAPS liaison is Officer Ramirez.
Okay, yeah, I know Officer Ramirez. Yeah.
So I'm asking all of this information, because I've never heard of any of this in our CAPS.
Well, the district strategic plan has just now become an operational function. Before it was an administrative function. Now it's operational. And I would say that's under the outstanding leadership of Superintendent Snelling. So even though it existed before, the competing priorities that are ongoing now dictates this is brought to the forefront and there's more community input.
Okay, I'll just make sure our CAPS staff can get this physically in paper on their doorstep.
Okay,
Just
so,
in case. She can go to the website. I'll get it to her.
No, I said there are a lot of gaps in communication, but it also could be because there's so much information. Like it truly is. It is just so much information. So you almost don't even know like where the information should go because it's just a lot. It's a lot of information.
Right.
So
I agree. That's good.
yeah, but I guess then also to prioritize, right? Who should get the information and where the information should go.
so I don't have anything else to say. I appreciate y'all listening.
All right. Thank you.
Councilor Ransom, we thank you for coming to 15th District by all means.
Thank y'all for having
Very
me.
informative.
Thank y'all for having me.
Please come back for the next meeting.
Okay. I mean, that's up to them.
Okay. Please have it back for the next meeting.
We should all be working together.
I agree.
Part of the process.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, not trying to step on any toes.
Yes.
Your neighbor.
Hey, what affects you affects us.
I agree. A border is sister.
As you know, crime has no border.
You ain't lying.
So there's no vote.
It does. From Oak Park all the way to the lake.
Well, you know what? We appreciate everyone for coming out. We're going to actually, I was just told they're going to move up the next meeting. So he's going to, Councilor Rudis is going to give us the date. And we appreciate God for giving us his win. We can't do nothing with that. We just appreciate it. It feels good. You got it, brother? Okay, he's still working on it. We appreciate Harambe Garden for allowing us to have some fresh air and to come in a nice, quiet setting. I'm just going to, you have anything you want to announce? Okay, the special meeting, he'll probably, that'll come out as well. He's looking for the address. We're going to be in another garden. Good and plenty?
Yeah, good and plenty.
Good and plenty. I love you, good and plenty. That's okay. We'll come back. We'll come back.
Okay, I have a question. Is it exactly? If I can't make it to a CAPS meeting, but I had something I wanted to like bring up, is there a way to like? I mean, the last CAPS meeting, me and a bunch of my neighbors all were unavailable, and like we had ahead of time, like, oh yeah, I was gonna go, and then I couldn't find a babysitter. Everybody. So what do we do in that situation?
You can call my CAPS office. You can tell me now what the problem is. You can call the station. You can come to one of our meetings that we have in the 15th district, one of our community meetings. I have a whole calendar of events in one of the brochures right here. You can take one and just see. everything that we're doing. So please feel free.
Because like some things, you know, it's not like a complaint. It was just a comment, you know. Like I'm not sure, we're not trying to do anything like real official, but you know, we can't make it to the casual things.
It's all important. We want to hear it all. Good, bad. We want to hear it.
You want to make it? You can make a comment. Oh, well, we were like wrapping up.
Nick's got some
We got time.
Is it me? Should I leave?
No, time for you. No, okay.
Nick's more interested in this meeting.
You can tell me after the meeting.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could make a lot of comments, but I just feel like it's the end of the meeting. Okay. So I'm newer to neighborhood. My kids go to school over there, and I've like been involved in the area for many years, but I just moved here like 6 months ago. But welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I know. He's the youngest. I don't know. So I live on Race Avenue, and someone in my building has had one of my neighbors. She was having a lot of mental health issues, and so there were a lot of calls, like welfare checks. But there were so many cars, and it was like the first time, like I came home with my kids, and I see 4 cars outside. I see one of the door, like I can see the front door that one of the doors is open, and I'm like, okay, I'm not taking my kids in, so I bring them to a neighbor's house. But I thought there'd at least be like somebody sitting in one of the cars, which I guess we don't need officers just sitting around a car doing nothing. So, but I was like, surely there'd be some. So I went inside and they talked with me, and that was fine, and like that was great. They said what was going on because I wanted to know how my neighbor was doing. But as she had multiple calls come, there were sometimes 8 cars outside, and it was just really unnecessary. And then also, we could hear, you know, she's in the basement apartment, we can hear, you know, there's like 10 men down there like yelling at her. Like it's too much. But what I thought was great is that multiple times I saw clearly an officer who like showed up later and was there to, because it was a mental health thing, like I could tell, and it was great, and they were kind talking to us. But it's like everybody down the block then is like, what's going on? And, you know, it's the afternoon, so many kids outside are like scared, or they're like, what's happening? Because it was just too many cars. And then there's the shooting, and nobody rolls up. like one car. Like there was a bad shooting, and one car, like we all called middle of the night, one car, like, well, I don't know, they're gone, which I get that, you know, they're gone. I mean, the shell casings were all there for a few weeks that nobody picked up, but like, till we had an Easter egg hunt. But I was like, why are there 4 or 5 cars for, you know, my neighbor?
Where do you, what's your, not your address, but what block do you live on? Give me the intersection.
5900. So right before Austin, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, something that happens on Monday and something that happens on Tuesday, something that happens on Monday at 10 o'clock and something that happens on Monday at 11 o'clock may elicit 2 different responses.
Yeah.
And the reason is that, A, you're dealing with dispatch protocol, meaning the priority that the dispatcher assigns the jobs. And if you have no officers, let's say they don't have any jobs, so everybody's free, you're gonna have more of a response. Because I tell the officers to back each other up. One thing we know about mental health issues is that we have a lot of it here in the 15th District. And they have the potential to spiral out of control and escalate. So we instruct our officers to make sure that if at all possible, the person that interacts with them is trained in crisis intervention, CIT, crisis intervention, CIT training. So I may be the initial responding officer responsible for doing the paperwork, but I may have to get an officer who's CIT trained there to de-escalate the situation.
Which I would guess that that's who showed up a couple times, but it's after there were 8 officers down in the basement apartment, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So, and the shooting, I am assuming that if you have a shooting, because shooting for us is a high priority. If you have a shooting, chances are the police were not notified.
we all
Hear me out. I'm just explaining. I'm not here to debate. I'm just explaining.
I just mean only
know,
one car came later. That's
So,
what I mean.
so when you call the police, the call, as you know, goes down to the Officer of Emergency Management. And just because you call don't necessarily mean that a vehicle is dispatched.
Yeah.
But when a vehicle is dispatched, when a vehicle is dispatched, we go.
Yeah. Or like one person. That's all. I'm just saying it was the quantity. Like it just felt really
But it's
unfitting.
possible that all the other cars were down on assignment.
Yeah,
We've had
yeah.
instances here in the Austin community. We've had upwards of 5 people shot at a given instance, and I have to send officers to 5 different hospitals.
Yeah, yeah. Which I assume that's what happens, but I also want to make sure you know. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
I'll take that into consideration,
I just wanted to
but they're
bring
doing
up
the best they can.
that both of those issues you brought up about the over-response and the officers standing around with hands up, feeling them out, and what you needed was that person dealing with a mental health issue, and there didn't appear to be someone because they're all yelling at you for a person.
So maybe when I texted somebody to talk about it, maybe it did get to the CAPS meeting.
It was brought up in the
Both of us
caption,
couldn't go, yeah.
and in the house and the car that was shot up. The poor guy that was traumatized, his house got it.
So he wasn't shot, but his house was shot up.
Yeah,
And
his
it was
car
an
and
automatic
house.
weapon. Like it was.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So was this happened a couple of months ago? This incident?
Not too long
It
ago.
was the weekend before Easter. But it
Okay,
was an
all right.
automatic weapon.
Yes, I know the incident. Okay, so when the house is shot up, that's a scary thing.
Yes, it is.
If I was the judge, I would want to charge the shooter with attempted murder, because you know somebody's living there. But when no one's hurt, you know what it is? Criminal damage to property. It's a report. It's notifying the detectives and securing the scene unless they tell you you can leave. We'll get there and do whatever we do. But a mental is believe it or not, is a higher priority than criminal damage to property. So we never want an officer to deal with someone in need of mental treatment one-on-one. Well, we don't know that. We have to assess each individual incident separately. We have to look at the facts of the situation, because there's no day in policing, in your life or anyone else's experience at their job especially, that's the same. So you just can't make that blanket statement. You'd have to say, why are there 10 cars? Was there a sergeant on the scene? I've been on the scene as the district commander with 2 sergeants and 10 officers in the 500 block of Central, and we needed every single one because we had an individual threatening suicide who had gotten out of jail for murder, and he was not responding to the first 6 officers. So guess what? We got to get somebody else over here to de-escalate, and I'm the commander, and I stand by that. So if someone calls my decision into question, that's your right to question it, but I'm going to stand behind it. And we successfully de-escalated that individual, got him some help. As a matter of fact, he came back to the station the next day and thanked me. He said, I want to speak to the commander. And I spoke to him. He said, thanks a lot for helping. I was going through a bad day. I would rather have the officers there de-escalate than have them have to use force.
Yeah.
And then get into a bad shooting. You know what they're going to say? Why weren't there enough officers here in order to successfully de-escalate?
I'm not trying to challenge.
So
No, we're just talking. I'm just explaining.
So tell you the things that
Yes.
happen
Yes.
in the community,
Yes.
talking on the sidewalk with neighbors, etc. What they share, and when
Yes.
they know what CAPS members are, we get an earful,
Yes.
an earful.
And as we should.
And so I'm just sharing general.
Yeah.
You guys.
well, so I'll say to this.
Officer Ramirez broke it down to us really good. You know, there are 2 here, well, there might be 2 for this, 2 for that.
And he's a
then-
military guy. He's tactics, so he knows.
So once he did that, the people at the captain said, okay, now we
Okay.
understand why there might have been 7.
You just said it was too much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm voicing,
No, but I understand. I don't feel challenged.
General
I don't feel
concern.
challenged.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to explain.
A couple things. So one of the things a couple things I neglected to mention. One, we've been trying to do listening tours as a district council. So Ms. Janice, to your point, if there are folks in the community that are coming to you with issues, they can bring it to us, because we were elected to hear those problems out and to. Yeah. So and if you have members that want to get together to talk our ear off, if you will, that's what I'm here for.
If I can feed them, they probably come over to.
We can figure that out. We can figure that out. The other thing is, to the point of mental health emergency. So in that meeting that I mentioned that happened at the district with the folks coming up with a plan, one of the things that came up is that the seniors they're the ones that are more likely to not know that 988 is the emergency response number for mental health challenges. And so alongside that, there are 4 different numbers that you can call for support. You got 211, 311, 911, and 988. And so we want to create an opportunity for for our seniors especially, but for community members to learn about each of those different departments and who to call when it's necessary to call that particular number. So we'll keep you all informed with that as well, because that's something we're working on. Yeah, that's all I just said, 211, yep. So we're working on putting that together. We'll keep you abreast when that comes to fruition. I am going to move to the voting section, of which there are none, so I'm going to go ahead and move past that, and then make the announcement of our next regular meeting, which will be, I remember the 5430 West Monroe. Okay, so the next meeting will be at Good and Plenty Garden. That's 5430 West Monroe, and the date will be, we're moving it up 1 week because of June. So June 12th. So Thursday, June 12th at 5:30, and the address is 5430 West Monroe at Good and Plenty Garden. And so with that, I make a motion to end our meeting. All right. Motion been. All right. Thank you all.